King Harris and 50 Cent T are currently at odds with one another, which has the internet in a frenzy. People are now doubting everything they believe to be true about King Harris in the midst of the mayhem. The conflicted battle between 50 Cent and King Harris has caused a lot of controversy online. And some of the things that have come to light throughout this feud are definitely things King would have preferred not to be spoken in public. Let's examine how this all began and what 50 Cent stated that has folks speaking. The Verzus who destroyed everything. You need to know where it all began in order to comprehend why 50 Cent and King Harris are currently at odds. Additionally, it began with an event intended to be a celebration. 50 Cent and T engaged in a Verzu battle that never took place. T has stated that because of what transpired about their potential, T no longer respects 50 Cent. Long-rumored battle against Verzu. In a social media post from co-host Gilly Doyd from a future episode of $1 Million Worth of Game, T detailed the match that, in his opinion, should have taken place, stating that it was about commemorating each other's catalog and that he and 50 had discussed it while traveling around Los Angeles together to market some gigs. This is when the exciting part begins. T clarified that he and 50 had discussed the subject. Years ago, the rapper from Atlanta claimed that the musicians came to an agreement, whereby 50 would react when T made the proposal public. However, he says Fifth was perplexed when T brought up the prospect of a Verzus. T was confused by that. 50 was acting as though he had no idea what was happening. Despite the fact that he had met with the man, discussed the concept, and planned the rollout. T.I. described a meeting in Los Angeles where the two were genuinely engaged in non-musical matters. Thus, it wasn't a haphazard shout. 50 and T were conducting business together. They were making movie and TV show pitches. The concept of a virus was also raised during that period, and 50 was on board until he wasn't. According to T. This is because earlier this month, Trap Pioneer accused Fifth of avoiding a Verzus fight against him during an episode of Nightcap Live. T wasn't holding back as he was on the show with Chad Aseno and Shannon Sharp. 50 does not desire smoke. He was stating that 50 ducked when he called him out. Now, if you know anything about 50 Cent, you are aware that he takes criticism seriously. Rather than following the idea I mentioned, he secretly consented to it. Call out for 50 rejected tips. In classic 50 Cent form, he started making fun of the Atlanta rapper on social media by posting an old Crime Stoppers advertisement. The rapper captioned a video of T testifying in court in a 2008 case when a man was charged with his friend's murder, saying, "I know Atlanta pick and choose who they support. That 50 Cent is textbook." He doesn't reply by barring initially. He answers with satisfaction. He finds old videos, interviews, and pictures and uploads them to Instagram so the internet can do the rest. Relaxation, and the internet took care of the rest. On Instagram, Fifth responded by warning T not to mention his name. Later, in a different post's comment area, Tip King was called a rat. That King Rat remark was hilarious. Fire, because one of the worst labels you can receive in hip-hop is rat. I wasn't going to overlook that. I replied in writing. You're teasing my name while there's just one of Uzrat in the real world. You are aware that I completed your papers correctly and you can access my transcript online. Your justifications are pointless. You soft son, get your ass in the box or STFU and live in terror. I no longer respect you. Now, the match was formally lit during that exact exchange. At that point, the argument over a versus turned into a full-fledged feud. T was asking 50's personality. T's street credibility was being questioned by 50, and neither man was giving up. However, neither of them anticipated that King Harris T's own son would be the next person to join the discussion, and all changed when King entered this beef. 50 Cent made a single action that completely altered the scenario as he intensified his feud with T. He pursued T's spouse. The social back and forth between 50 Cent and Tycast 50 and King Harris tips Sun to start a fresh feud. The business magnate responds, "I keep saying, keep my name out of your mouth. Okay." In response to a contentious picture of T's wife, Tiny Harris, was 50 Cent hitting below the belt, which is what he does best. At that point, he had no intention of pursuing T's career or music. He was pursuing his relatives. And you don't cross that boundary in the Harris household. After 50 Cent posted a picture of T's wife, Tiny Harris, along with a caption cautioning T to keep his name out of his mouth, the tension reappeared. Online attention was drawn to the post right away, and Ty's King Harris, the son, to reply. On Sunday, February 22nd, King Harris became involved in the T and 50 Cent spat after the billionaire sent T an Instagram post, including a picture of Tip's wife, Tiny Harris, singing. 50 would add a caption to the image. King would respond to 50's post with Tiny Harris prepared for battle and ready to get ugly after issuing his warning. King's remark was straightforward. "Where is your mother?" King said that King was going straight for the jugular there. He was aware that Sabrina Jackson, 50 Cent's mother, had passed away. Additionally, he purposefully irritated that wound by inquiring where your mother was. However, King didn't end there. He posted on Instagram .tales and launched into a tirade. In part, he claimed that 50 was posting about his mother even though she was deceased, calling her a legend, and he would say this directly to 50's face. King Harris then posted a message on his Instagram story. Wrote this after taking a picture of a headstone. "Where is your mother?" In addition, he posted a photo of a gravestone with Sabrina Jackson's name on it, along with a note about 50. Now, even the internet can't match that level of disdain. Stopped because it's inappropriate to mention someone's deceased mother and share a photo of their grave online. King went too far, according to some, while others believed he was protecting his family. 50 Cent has, according to his most recent Instagram post. King Harris dismissed Sabrina Jackson's comments. LOL 50. Included a picture of the well-known cartoon frog meme as a caption for the post. That's the issue with 50 Cent. He is not sentimental. He doesn't become irate. He becomes calculated. Can 50 saying lol? In response, indicates that he will be returning with greater vigour. He was not being unbothered by that frog meme. He was loading the chamber there. King Harris defended his mother on Instagram by highlighting 50's previous conflicts. The fallout from his 2000 shooting, prior allegations of domestic abuse, and other issues. King was searching 50 for all he could discover. He was searching the records. He was sharing a 2013 domestic abuse case involving 50 Cent. In 2013, 50 Cent was put on trial for domestic abuse. King posted a picture of him in court with the message, "All you do is apply pressure to females. Bring that smoke to the chimney." Everything King had was hurled at the wall. He was attempting to change the story so that 50 would appear to be the bad guy. Here's the problem though. 50 Cent has been involved with beefs for more than 20 years. He and J. Rule have been at odds. He and Rick Ross have been at odds. He and Diddy have had disagreements. 50 Cent is at odds with numerous contemporaries, in addition to T.I., such as Diddy, Benzino, Ja Rule, and others. 50 Cent has identified the one thing his opponent does not want to be publicly displayed in each of those feuds, and he has attacked it. Thus, when King Harris entered this battle, he unknowingly stepped into a trap. 50 wasn't just going to clap back, after all. He was going to produce receipts that would completely append King's private life. If there's one thing you can rely on from 50 Cent, it's to include other people's families. This is not brand new. This pattern has been documented. The Dog Club hitmaker has done this before, took gigs at the homes of rappers. Memphis rapper Finesse 2 times was subjected to a similar slur last year. According to reports, he was not providing for his mother financially. 50 Cent also wrote about it on Instagram. 4 years, 50 Cent has been doing this. He doesn't only target the person with whom he has a disagreement. He targets their business, their reputation, their family, and their connections. He pursues everything. And he pursued everything with the Harris family. On Monday, February 23rd, 50 Cent continued to make fun of King and Tiny Harris by reposting a video from the 50 WTF show, which featured the co-hosts making fun of both Harris family members. The fact that 50 was no longer merely publishing his own comments was the turning point in the affair. He was supporting the comments made by others regarding King and Tiny. He was ensuring that the Harris family was the topic of conversation on the internet. T and his family have been embroiled in a bitter online feud with 50 Cent. The two rappers' canceled Verzu fight seems to be the source of the conflict. This is when things became awkward for King Harris, since 50 Cent began to delve into King's personal life after focusing on King in particular. Additionally, King Harris's background includes he was raised on camera and in the spotlight from birth. King Harris, the son of R&B artist Tiny and rapper T, has been in the spotlight for the majority of his childhood due to his songs, viral videos, and expanding social media following. King has left Thea's own reputation while avoiding his parents' shadow. Harris, an American celebrity child, was born in Atlanta, Georgia. On August 25, 2004, his father is a well-known American rapper, musician, and songwriter who goes by Tip, or T. Entrepreneur, record producer, and actor. In addition to being a member of the R&B vocal quartet X Escape, his mother is a talented singer and songwriter. Since he was a young child, King has appeared on VH1's T and Tiny, The Family Hustle. Each and every his life has been chronicled for the public to see. This implies that there is a great deal of content available, including a great deal of video, snippets, and moments that could be misinterpreted or used against him. Additionally, 50 Cent is the type of guy who will seize those opportunities and turn them into weapons. He is the type to agitate his worst adversary for 20 years. He's the type of person who would collaborate with DoorDash to ridicule a prisoner. He actually did that to Jim Jones. He posted a surveillance footage of Rival Jim Jones violently kicking down a corridor door on Instagram in February 2026. Thus, when 50 focused on King Harris, those who the 1950s playbook was aware that things were going to turn ugly. And it did. Everyone was still remembering the Blueface incident from December 2025. Additionally, 50 leaned into that story in a manner that caused individuals to begin making connections. The controversy started when Blueface responded to persistent rumors about his partner, Naakira, on social media. In response to remarks that said she looked like King Harris, Blueface embraced the analogy, following the rapper's accusation that his girlfriend looks like T's son. Blueface and King Harris engaged in an online spat. "You resemble my _ brother King Harris, move on," Blueface penned. King's masculinity was immediately targeted by Blueface when he said, "There's nothing manly about you, lil bro. Please don't make it weird." And with it came the internet. After that, Blueface tweeted, "King Harris is my type of boss." The inference was obvious. And all those old footage and old remarks flooded back into the chronology when 50 Cent brought up this story again during his spat with the Harris family. The internet began bringing up each and every video, screenshot, an instance where King's masculinity was called into doubt. And 50 Cent was counting on that. Sometimes he doesn't have to say it himself. He only needs to direct people. The internet takes care of the rest. Most people forgot about the Blueface and King Harris incident from late 2025 until 50 Cent's conflict with the Harris family thrust it back into the spotlight dialogue, and it stuck when it came back up. Standing next to Akira, Blueface doubled down in a live stream video that went viral online. "You all keep saying that my _ resembles King. Kinda do a little bit, baby," he remarked. "Harris, right?" King Harris's response to the circumstance was measured. In all honesty, King reacted negatively to Akira's response, by full. Framing, "I'm less mad, more like weirded out," he replied. Blueface said, "Why would you say your girl resembles a guy? That underscore don't sit." He continued by disparaging King's appearance and speech, claiming that there was nothing macho about him and characterizing him as small and fair-skinned. For laughs, Blueface then pulled his girl into it. "Come, King Harris, enter the bed," Baby Blueface jokingly said to Akira, his new girlfriend. "Queen Harris with your little petite. I like how you stated that. AAO, hold on a second, wait a minute." That video went viral, garnering millions of views. And the narrative that emerged was one that publicly questioned King Harris' masculinity. Despite King's respectful reaction, the internet continued to run with the narrative. Comments saying everything from "I don't look like no girl" to "I don't look like no King Harris" had replied to Blueface. Secondly, "Why in the world would you say that, brother? I'm not so much angry as I'm freaked out." Some followers agreed with Blueface and said they could see the likeness, while others sided with King and thought the connection was strange. "You say your female looks like a guy? That side don't sit." One Instagram user said that people would rather entertain the LGBT narrative than acknowledge the likeness, calling the entire topic strange, and others said that it was improper to make. That kind of comparison that tells you exactly where the internet took this. It was no longer just about appearances. It was about masculinity and sexuality. These are the kinds of narratives that are nearly indequeezed, that are nearly impossible to stop once they get going, especially when someone like 50 Cent decides to use them as ammunition. However, 50 Cent never made a direct statement about them. 50 doesn't work that way. Instead, he reposts audio from podcasts where people are talking about King Harris, sexuality, and posts suggestive content. He uses memes and emojis to steer the discourse in a certain direction. Then he lets the internet handle the rest. This is precisely what occurred in this instance. The internet did what the internet does, reposting stuff that helped revive this story. And people began bringing up old social media posts and King snippets from the Family Hustle show. That's what happens when 50 Cent opens that door. They began reanalyzing every interview, appearance, every encounter. And they began constructing a case that might or might not be grounded in fact, because the person in a relationship is the one most immediately impacted by these types of rumors, aside from King himself. Everyone started to wonder what King Harris's girlfriend thought of all of this. With him, King Harris's private life has been in the public eye for years. He's had his share of viral dating rumors and public affairs, but his current relationship seems to be more serious. His girlfriend, and currently the mother of his child, is Instagram star Jenny Anana Epps, who is well known for her fearless demeanor and viral presence. The two recently made their relationship public by showing up together at their baby shower. Jania Epps is 20 years old in 2025, which puts her almost at King Harris's age. The two have been seen together in public and private places, occasionally showing off matching outfits on social media, and other times completely deleting their accounts of one another. Their relationship has had its share of visibility and mystery. The latter is crucial. Fans have observed a pattern where they have gone through times when they have removed one another from social media. People instantly turn to Jenny's social media to check for any indications of danger when the 50 Cent beef began, and the old stories about King's masculinity began to resurface. King Harris is not yet a parent, but is the baby shower pictures verified that King and Jean were together and starting a family? But the question now is if the pressure was real. King was expecting his first kid from his unidentified partner. According to a previous article, the relationship has been impacted by this feud and the remarks and posts made online. Because, let's face it, when you're a young woman in your early 20s and everything on the internet is disparaging your boyfriend, even if none of it is true, the simple fact that he is having those conversations causes tension in any relationship. Things about his sexuality and masculinity cause stress. King's relationship has already showed signs of instability. And that strain increases when those talks are being magnified by someone with a platform of 50 Cent. Someone with millions of followers who specializes in making people's lives miserable through social media. The intermittent nature of his social media presence with Jinea indicates that there have been difficult times in their relationship. Additionally, the date of 50 Cent's attacks coincides with King's impending fatherhood, or has the problem is made much more complicated by the fact that Tiny Harris and Jinea have not yet made any public remarks on the subject. But their silence is telling. It is customary for a spouse in a relationship to openly support their partner when they are being attacked online. Therefore, the fact that Jinea hasn't done that during this specific feud has fans are keeping a careful eye on the feud, which is mostly limited to social media, to see whether it will subside or intensify. What started as a back and forth between two seasoned rappers has grown into a family-centered dispute, demonstrating how easily online conversations can turn into something much more serious. T isn't keeping silent though, as he promotes his Kill the King album and shares a new song, days after the two started making disparaging remarks about one another on Instagram. Given him hasn't given up on his Queen's rival, the Atlanta rapper doubled down on his diss track war on Sunday, February 22nd, by posting another clip that debuted on Atlanta's Hot 107.9 on Monday, February 23rd. Tip released a song aptly named War as 50 Cent and T's conflict raged on, and T.I. is now creating songs about it, utilizing it as gasoline for his final T.I. Isn't Being Kind, calling 50 a 5 dispatcher and essentially branding. It seems like this might be a 1,000-second sneak peek of a longer version of War, which might be included on T.I.'s last album, Kill the King, which will be released later in 2026. King Harris's fight with 50 identifies him as a snitch and makes fun of him as a computer warrior. T raps that he has documents from inmates that contain 50's identity, a shocking assertion that directly targets 50's gangster brand, following his 2026 fight with Diddy's son, Christian King Combs. The mogul went after a rapper's kid. This is another pattern in which 50 Cent targets not only musicians but also their offspring.com. BMES is now pursuing King Harris, and in both instances he identified the one thing that would cause the greatest pain and took advantage of it. In actuality, no one outside of King Harris's personal life, nobody, is aware of what is happening between him and Jean. Whether it is having an impact on their relationship, whether she is supporting him, or has decided that the pressure is too much. What we do all that is known is that 50 Cent has done what he always does, which is to take a music-related conflict and make it into a personal one. He has also made a feud over a non-existent versus into a family catastrophe. 20-year-old King Harris, the son of one of the most well-known rappers in Atlanta history, is currently caught in the midst of 50 Cent's dispute with T, is a result of social media trolls and insults regarding a conflict between his father and one of the most astute brains in hip-hop. 50 Cent will never let up. The question is not if King Harris's girlfriend left him. Rather, it appears that this is a hostile relationship that won't see a hatchet burial anytime soon. Given that they are still at odds over Verzu's challenge, if history is any guide, 50 Cent's harm is not always instantaneous. Therefore, the question is whether any relationship can withstand the kind of public scrutiny that comes with being in his crosshairs. We are currently witnessing a feud that began over a verse and has grown to affect every member of the Harris family, sometimes taking weeks, sometimes months. But it always has a cost. King Harris is posting headstones. Tiny Harris is being mute. T is creating diss tunes. And Jinea, the young woman at the center of it all, is in a 50 Cent has made a career out of identifying the pressure point and applying pressure until something breaks. Whether that something is a situation that no one would want to be in, time will tell. But one thing is certain, this is far from over. That's the story thus far. Let me know share your thoughts on all of this in the comments section. Do you believe King overreached himself, bringing up a mother in her 50s? Do you believe that 50 went too far in pursuing Tiny? And carry out to believe that King's partnership can endure everything? Let your thoughts flow down below. Additionally, if you have not subscribed, press that button right now because this narrative is growing every hour and you don't wish to overlook what occurs.